Welcome to Canine Handler Fitness. This is a podcast for dog sport handlers who want to feel strong, capable, and confident in their bodies. Hi, my name's Liz Joyce. I am a strength and conditioning coach, and I specialize in fitness for agility and dog sport performance. In this podcast, we cover everything you need: strength, speed, mobility, and endurance. All the things to keep you moving, performing, and doing what you love, both in and out of the ring. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey y'all, and welcome back. We are talking today because I've been having 15-minute meetings with existing All Access members over the last couple months, and there's been hundreds of them. If that's you listening, it's been an honor to meet you, truly. I've also been getting emails from people who are already working out for agility specifically, and they've got some questions about what do I do differently than what they're doing right now, and they're full of great questions. One thing that's been coming up often that we're going to talk about today specifically is Tabata. People who've been conditioning or working out for agility generally have been asked to do Tabata something or another for conditioning, for anaerobic conditioning. Whether it's burpees or squat jumps or box jumps, it's usually framed as this will make you faster, fitter, and more prepared for agility. Again, we're going to be working your anaerobic cardiovascular system. Do we need to be working your anaerobic cardiovascular system for agility? Yes. Do we need to be doing it with Tabata burpees? Well, let's talk about it. The goal of this podcast is to help you develop more discernment around what you're being told to do and whether it actually serves you or not, because doing really hard things and doing really helpful things are not the same thing. I want to talk real quick about what Tabata actually is because this matters. Tabata training is not just short intervals. It's also not high intensity interval training or HIIT training on steroids, but it's a really specific protocol, and it goes exactly like this. And I mean exactly like this. You got 20 seconds of an all out effort followed by 10 seconds of rest. And you're going to complete that for 4 minutes. Quick math is 8. You've got 8 of those extreme efforts over a 4-minute period. It was developed in the 1990s by Dr. Izumi Tabata, and this was not a protocol that was designed for the general public. It was designed as a research protocol for elite speed skaters. These athletes have already a massive aerobic base and excellent movement mechanics, years of technical training, and also the ability to tolerate extreme intensity safely. This is the part that gets missed by a lot of coaches who are asking their clients to do this. The Tabata protocol is designed to use sport-specific movements, period. And for good reason, which means that people who are speed skaters were skating, cyclists were cycling, rowers were rowing, runners were running, and I think you can follow this train right on down the tracks. These people were not doing full body exercises, but what they were doing was pushing the maximal output in the exact movement pattern of their sport, and that's why it worked. So how on earth did we end up giving Tabata burpees to the general public, talking about helping their anaerobic system get ready for the demands of agility? Well, there are a few reasons. Number one, they're convenient. They also will spike your heart rate fast. They don't require a lot of equipment, and people really feel punished when they're doing these. And for some people, I would say, probably for a lot of people, feeling like you're being crushed in a workout equates to, I did a really great job today. But this convenience, this punishment during your workouts does not equal transfer to your sport. And I want to be really clear about this, okay? Burpees do not look like agility. They do not move like agility. And they do not prepare your body for agility demands. And in fact, under extreme fatigue, which is what Tabata will do, burpees usually will do the opposite of what agility requires. And let's talk about that. What does agility actually ask of your body? Agility courses are usually 30 to 60 seconds. And during that time, you need to accelerate, decelerate, change direction, think clearly, stay upright and often on uneven ground. We know this, right? You need to have power and control. You need to be able to coordinate and think clearly under pressure. Agility is not about how long you can suffer, but it is about how well you can move when things are fast and you've got fatigue going on. Now, I want to talk about what happens when you're doing Tabata burpees versus the skills that you need as the handler on course. Tabata burpees, your fatigue is going to stack almost immediately. Your form is going to break down. Your posture will collapse. And this is the biggest thing, is that people stop driving away from the ground and they start falling into it. And at that point, you are not training speed, power, coordination. You're not training kinetic chains firing as a unit in ways that are going to transfer to your sport. All that you're training really is survival and possibly your ego. I think it's relevant and important to talk about the injury risk that happens and fatigue, and also why this matters, and even more specifically for women who are 35 and over. And this is really important because a lot of people listening have quietly been wondering why they feel beat up or fragile or fatigued or finding themselves with random injuries, even when they're working their butts off. And it's not that explosive movement is not the problem. Jumping is not the problem. Sprinting is not the problem. The issue here is explosive movement under extreme fatigue. When you do something like Tabata Burpees, again, your fatigue is going to be almost immediate. And when your fatigue shows up, your mechanics are going to slide, which means that your knees lose control and your ankles will stop acting like springs. Your foot, instead of loading and acting as a spring, will just start collapsing. Your back also will likely start doing work that it was never meant to do. And at this point, you are not producing power anymore. You're just absorbing force poorly. And this matters even more for women, especially in that perimenopause window, which, let's be honest, is a huge percentage of agility handlers. Hormonal shifts will affect your tendon hydration and elasticity, which means that your tissues are less forgiving and recovery can take longer. And the stiffness can show up faster, and especially first thing in the morning or after rest. If you notice these things happening, it isn't just you or a lack of effort, but it is biology, which does not mean that women should stop doing explosive movement. And in fact, it's the opposite that's true. Jumping, sprinting, accelerating, decelerating, these things are all protective and they help maintain bone mass, tendon health, your confidence, and your power. But they need to be trained when your body can still organize itself, not when you're so fatigued that you're just surviving the reps and hoping everything holds together, and also hoping that you only taste your breakfast once. This is one of the reasons why I see people working incredibly hard. They're putting effort in and working so hard and still showing up to trials with random injuries, picking up knee pain they never had problems with before, or Achilles issues, or plantar fascia pain, or back strain that feels like it came out of nowhere. Y'all, nothing really mysterious happened here. You've been training your body to collapse when it's fatigued. You are always going to get what you train. Just like if you were training agility and you wanted a contact. If every time you were training before a trial, you missed the contact every single time you got to a trial, you would not be wondering, why didn't I get a contact when I'm here at the trial? You'd be like, well, I trained for that, so this is what I get. Same, different. So have you ever been told to just add Tabata burpees to build your anaerobic conditioning for agility? I want you to hear this really clearly. The problem isn't that you're not working hard enough. The problem is that your effort isn't being aimed at something that's transferable. Okay, so all this being said, what do I recommend instead? I recommend conditioning that actually matches. I love these intervals. The interval looks like 1 minute of hard effort followed by 1 minute of real recovery, not fake recovery, not jogging in place, pretending that you're fine, not 4 out of 10 instead of 10 out of 10, but actually recovering where your breathing is going to settle and your body's going to chill out and you're going to be truly ready for your next effort. Ideally, for agility handlers, this looks like running or sprinting. If your knees don't tolerate that, you want to be doing something that looks sort of like that. You could do that on the elliptical. You could do that on a bike. You could do that in a pool with a pool noodle. So you're running in the water. This structure will match the course length more closely. It's also going to allow for quality movement that transfers, and you're going to be practicing organizing your body in the movement that you use in agility while you're fatigued. It's also going to help your body learn how to recover effectively. And again, you're going to be able to repeat the effort without falling apart. When you start to get fatigued and you are doing a full minute of running or sprinting, the things that are important to think about is driving away from the ground, pushing away from the ground. Pay attention to your body. Once you start thinking about this and you're sprinting, you start to get fatigued. I bet you almost any amount of money, you will notice that your body starts to want to fall into the ground. Your body's going to start feeling a little bit floppy, and I need you to stay tight and drive away from the ground. Then you'll be training your power and your composure, your mental resilience. You'll have some cues you can bring on board when you're running agility and you start to get tired. How can you keep this power up? Oh yeah, I need to drive away from the ground and stay tall. And that is agility. If you've been doing Tabata workouts, it's not that you've been doing anything wrong. You showed up, you worked as hard as you possibly could, and also trusted the advice that you were giving, and all of these things matter. And I want you to really understand that just because it's hard doesn't mean that it transfers. And it's best when you can choose tools that serve you better. And just because something's popular doesn't mean that it's appropriate. And just because it's exhausting doesn't mean that it's effective. So if you've been told to do Tabata anything for agility, here's the question I want you to start asking. And I want you to ask this about all the training that you're doing, even in the weight room. Does this look like my sport? Does this help me move better when I'm tired? Or does it just make me tired? Hard things still and always will belong in training. I love hard things, but I want to be doing hard things that move the needle for me. And as a coach, I want everyone who works with me to be doing hard things that move the needle for them too. We want to be training performance and not just fatigue. Don't forget that our dogs read our body language, and your body and your dog are going to feel the difference.
Thanks so much for being here with me today and choosing to spend this time investing in yourself. I hope you feel encouraged to take action. Even the smallest steps forward will add up in ways you cannot even imagine yet. If this episode gave you something to think about or lifted you up, please share it with a friend. You really never know who might need these tools today. For more information, practical tools, and resources to help you get stronger and confident both in and out of the ring, head on over to caninehandlerfitness.com. You can also find me on all the socials under the same name, so come on over and say hi. I'm here to help you build the skills, knowledge, and belief you need to reach your goals. Keep going, keep learning, and most of all, keep showing up for yourself. You've got this, and I'll be here cheering for you every step of the way.